I just saw this film just a few hours ago and I need to talk about it now while it's fresh in my mind. This horror movie entitled Talk to Me.
Talk to me.
Haley, fucking stop it, he's choking!
The first thing I noticed was it was an A24 Productions, and that in itself was like, okay, let's watch this. This is interesting. If you're not aware, A24 Productions is a company that has given us films such as Everything Everywhere All at Once, Midsommar, Hereditary, The Whale, and so many more that are like indie films that have quality and a punch to them. And they actually have a good track record, in my opinion, for horror movies. Like I mentioned, Midsommar and Hereditary. I didn't know any of the actors or actresses in this movie. They're actually pretty young, but this is a badass film. It's a really good horror movie that I hadn't had in a while. This is, I think, one of the best horror movies of 2023 so far. It just dials it all down in giving quality horror elements with a nice story at the center of it all. So let's talk about the story first. The story centers on this girl who just lost her mom, but is spending more time with this family, and then they encounter this relic, a hand that is like a medium to spirits. So all they have to do is like have a handshake and all of the like perform a handshake, say a couple of words. They have this encounter with the spirit. They play around with it like a Ouija board, like yung spirit of the glass kind of thing. But the threat becomes all the more real as they continue to play around with this porcelain cadaver-like hand. When I read it in IMDb and clicked the city, I was like, corny naman ito. But the synopsis, the trailer, the poster doesn't do it all that much of justice compared to watching the movie itself. Because the story is actually very familiar, but it's fresh still. There's a different treatment. There's this nice way it takes its time, and it's not in your face horror. It's not relying so much on the jump scares or the eerie music or things that are just gonna pop up and scare you. It's just that the elements of it are pretty creepy. That is something that's nice to see in horror movies nowadays, because a horror movie usually now, the trope of it all is jump scares. Is there gonna be someone that's gonna pop up in the closet? What it does is provide nice practical horror effects that work, and the visuals pair up with the story so well that you get that heaviness to it. There is loss, there is grief, there is that suicide at the back of our minds of what happened, and then there's this need for this main character to talk to her mom who's dead and all of these things. There are gory moments, but at times when horror films do that, it's to get a niche of people who love the blood, the gore. And this one, whether you like those moments or not, it's enough to complement the story as much as you would want it to. Like, it makes sense. They're not just there for the sake of being there, but they're there because the story fits perfectly with those kinds of moments. And when all of these elements come together, it makes for a pretty great standout film for me. There's a heaviness to this, but it's not all that, like, it's lingering, yes, but it's not like super hard to breathe kind of heavy. I mean, in comparison to Midsommar, in comparison to Hereditary. But I liked it. I love how it was executed from start to finish. And one of the things I found out is the directors of this are YouTubers. They came from YouTube, like This World, and then directed a film. Their passion is filmmaking, and they just nailed it. I mean, this is their debut film, their debut feature-length film, and it's pretty amazing. Like, even like the actors and actresses, like I said, majority of them, I don't know who they are. They were just amazing in this film, and I know they're like mostly Australian. It's great, a great showcase of talent. For a horror movie, I can't say this enough. It's really great. I can't actually say anything bad about it, which is why I am giving my second 10 out of 10 for 2023. The first being Oppenheimer. Watch my review of Oppenheimer. I'll leave the link up here. But again, this was just fantastic as a horror movie. I am not a fan of horror movies in general that are like spirit-based, the scare treatment was enough that you don't necessarily get nightmares after. You won't necessarily be like creeped out all the way, but it's just that the execution was creepy, was scary, and that's all you'll actually need. So that's it for this review of Talk to Me. It's a surprising film for me. I nearly skipped out on it. How about you guys? Have you seen it? What are your thoughts? I actually would love to say that this is a film you definitely should check out, especially if you're a fan of horror movies. Don't forget to make every day into an adventure. Stay safe, guys, and God bless. Stay dry as well because of the rain here in the Philippines.